Hey YouTube, welcome back to Love for Crypto. So I'll just do a quick price analysis first again. So if you remember yesterday, I said we'd fallen through, probably ranged between about 48 cents to 45 cents, and potentially try and catch a long position at 43 cents to 40 cents. It looked like it just dipped into the 43 cents region. Obviously it consolidated a little bit after there, tried to go up, rolled back over, tested back down, not as low. And then obviously you've seen the move today, and I've been calling over the past couple of days, actually saying, you know, I'm waiting to get into this long position. I've played it short down to the 43 cents range where we briefly touched. But full disclosure for everyone, you know, this channel is about transparency. Not trying to mislead anyone. But obviously, if you have been following these podcasts for the past couple of days, I have been talking about the downward movement and probably seen a bounce back from the 44 cents moving up. But silly cunt over here fell asleep last night before he got into a position. Woke up this morning, the market ran away from him. Not to worry. Like I say, I've got a Bitfinex account, and what I do is I fund the margin account with XRP. So I have actually still got the gains of XRP moving forwards, but obviously I've not got it at the leverage, which would have been a nice 3.3 on a 15% move. I probably could have been looking anywhere between $200-300 on that move. So I'm not just just going to go in here and lie to you, say that I went long. But if you have been following the podcast the past couple of days, I did say we are more than likely to see that retracement to around the 40-43 cents. We didn't quite go lower. We had a lot of strong support there, which I've been calling, and we've literally, we've catapulted back up from there. We've hit maybe as high as 54-53 today. I've had a brief look at the charts, not really looked into it as much today, but I can see a nice ascending triangle forming up at the 53 cents region, which is appearing to act as the main resistance at the moment. Again, don't take this as financial advice. I'm just putting across my opinions for price movements, which obviously have been going in my favour recently. But what I am going to suggest today, I think we're going to test that 53 cents region. Like I say, we have got the ascending triangle forming there. And I've got a feeling we might get a strong break through that region today and test as high up as 60 cents and maybe retrace to around 57-56 cents from that next initial rush. So that's the sort of a market outlook for today, really. There's not really been much groundbreaking news over yesterday. Ryan Zagon we sort of sat at the congressional sort of regulations meeting. Obviously, Ryan Zagon's going to be there. He's doing a big job worldwide in sort of trying to set up regulatory frameworks. So that's been happening yesterday. I believe the congressman actually asked the SEC that they need validation on what is securities, what are currencies, and what are commodities. As I'm saying, all the stars seem to be aligning now. I think we're going to get some sort of decision from the SEC, definitely before the year end on what exactly XRP is. Coinbase announced yesterday that they're planning on adding over 100 digital assets to the platform. Yeah, when that happens, I'm not too sure. It just goes to show that all these other exchanges worldwide are starting to apply pressure and taking away Coinbase custom due to the narrow support of coins that they actually have on that platform. I'm sure they're feeling it in the bank anyway. I'm sure they're losing out on all sorts of capital by not obviously listing XRP. In their eyes, they may be waiting for that clarification from the SEC. I think that this decision for the SEC is being used as a weapon to put a restraint on the market, to keep it pressured at a point. I do personally think people have got the bags loaded now, whether that's Wall Street investors, whether it's banks, hedge funds, whatever. I believe they played this price down all year long. Obviously, it was at a screaming fucking overbought status last year. The retracement, yeah, 90%, a little bit over the top. Again, I think there's been downward pressure applied, from Main Street media, MasterCard banning crypto purchases, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. I don't need to go over it all again. But they've been using the media to really try to price this market down. I think there's been a lot of onlookers by, possible people from Silicon Valley who probably didn't have a stake in this and seen its true potential and wanted to get in at a good buy. So in that regard, I do think the market definitely bottomed at the 25 cents range. I really can't see that coming back down to test that region now. I think we're well out the clear. Again, obviously after that initial surge to sort of like 78 cents, we've had a really good pullback now. Obviously, there was a dip alongside wick in that, which I'm not really counting when I'm using my Fibonacci retracement. But on the 61.8 retracement levels was bang where that 44 cents was, and it seems to have reacted really nice to that level of support really on the retracement. That's a very common retracement level that traders will look to set up to get a buy in at. So it's held that support. That's great. You know, we've not fallen through. I didn't really expect to fall through. I did expect a little bit of a spike down really, maybe it's just a little long squeeze, a little bear trap, but we didn't really see it. It's just reacted straight off it, which is telling me now that the market is becoming more of a natural flow. We're not hearing all the bullshit from the mainstream media now, you know, trying to suppress. Again, I think they've got the bags loaded. I think you'll probably find that Q3 report from Ripple. They will have had record-breaking sales. That's quite astonishing. And don't forget, it's not just Ripple that do OTCs. The likes of Bitfinex also do, and other major exchanges. And obviously, these are transactions that aren't being bought through the counter, which don't affect the price. But obviously now, all these big stakeholders have got the bags full. They probably will go to the open order books to sort of give it a bit of encouragement for a directional move to the upside. Obviously, that's just my take on that. There's a little interesting thing that the World Bank released yesterday. It's on my Twitter. I've done a retweet on it. They've got a big announcement that they are making today. Obviously, it could be absolutely anything, this, but you've just got to remember the simple fact that Mutual Loop got announced last year at Swell. XRapid looking like it's going to go live, which is going to be a source of liquidity for emerging markets, but also it will allow financial inclusion. XRapid, you know, where those trading pairs aren't necessarily liquid enough to be sustainable and to even be profitable, they just get ignored and left. Whereas now with XRP being used as that source of liquidity, then obviously you can, you know, it will allow financial inclusion to happen. Whether the World Bank announced, you know, that they've been working with Mutual Loop, Ripple and Swift in order to allow for financial inclusion, who knows, you know, I'm only speculating on that. I do find it very interesting though, to be fair, so I'm going to be keeping a good eye on that, and might even try and get the conference watched live in regards to that. So yeah, so I'm happy with the price move that's gone on. Again, I'm half kicking myself for not getting in that long position. I mean, I seen the bullish divergence on the hour chart when it was at 44 cents. I should have really stayed in the long position there and then trenched myself in. But like I say, I've not really lost out. My XRP is valued up anyway with the flow of the market going up. It's just a shame that I didn't make them extra gains, which I'm trying to make during these swings in the market and natural retracements and obviously impulses out from those retracements, which we've seen today. But yeah, just as a recap, I think we're definitely going to keep testing this 53 cents range. It's looking strong, looking like we've got an ascending triangle trying to break up, and if we do get to that 53 cents and the triangle comes towards a squeeze, I reckon we're going to see an impulse towards up to the 57 cents range to 60 cents range. I think if we do get to the 60 cents range, we could feel some sort of resistance, but who knows, it could explode all the way through. But I think we're looking at the upside over the next 24 hours. So by the time that I do my next video, I'd like to see us in that 60 cents to 56 cents range, a little bit of steady progression. Obviously, again, we've got Swell to look forward to next week, launch of XRapid. I just think there's too much fundamentals around XRP now for it to even turn into a bullish, a sort of bullish divergence from this point. I mean, don't get me wrong, we could fall back down, test the 50 cents range, 49 cents range. But again, as I stated, I do really believe that we are going to push forward from there. I could be wrong again. Don't trade from this opinion for whatever you do, because it's not about that. It's just my opinion. In that regard, just another thing as well, we're getting a lot of messages on YouTube, Twitter. At the moment it's a bit hard, as you can see. I drive a lot of the time, so I can't really be on my phone throughout working days. I get home, go and see my family, and they just start many messages. I can't really reply to them all, so I don't want people thinking I'm being ignorant. I do read most of them, if not all of them, to be quite frank. But again, it's just responding to them. It'll be exhausting for me to do. Obviously, I appreciate the support, I really fucking do. But again, obviously, in regards to doing that, I'd be there fucking all night. It's a full-time job on its own. So yeah, it's not really much of an update today. Again, you know, we've had Ryan Ziegler sat in Congress, and we had a discussion regulatory frameworks. We've obviously got the UN final meeting back end of, I think it's October, is it? Maybe end of October. And that, again, that's regulatory framework. We've now got the Congress, congressmen and women pushing the SEC now for clarity of what digital assets are specifically. You know, obviously, I'm sure the question is being asked about XRP. Is it a security, a currency? Is it a commodity? well, you know, all we have to do go back to 2014 when FinCEN declared Ripple XRP as a currency. For one jurisdiction to go against the other one would be, well, I can't really see it happening. I have got a feeling that XRP will be deemed a currency, not a commodity. Whether people want to agree with that statement or not, I'm not too sure. But I can definitely see that happening anyway. So from that point moving forwards, I'm going to probably keep this one short. Again, there's not really much breaking news that's come out. We're obviously battling it out with Ethereum at second stop. For me, that's irrelevant. Bitcoin's my target. I'm not really too bothered about second. And I really do think once we've got real utility being driven through this token, I think Bitcoin's days will be numbered. I think, in fact, I actually believe we will have a paradigm shift within the cryptocurrency sphere, where people will just instantly be flocking over to XRP, you know, from shit coins, from coins projects that are promising specific fucking things that clearly aren't working out for them. We've been getting a lot of talk about BAB as well. What people asking about BAB and what do we think about BACS? Me and Scott, we're committed to 2 tokens and 2 tokens only. It is XRP and it is BACS. I have big belief for BACS. I really do. You know, if you've not heard of BAB or BACS, I'd suggest that you seriously take a look into it. It's banking the unbanked. Now, obviously, you could say, well, Ripple's trying to do the same thing. What Ripple's trying to do is allow anybody worldwide to have financial access, you know, to allow financial inclusion. But, you know, speak over to Maurice, part of the WhatsApp group chat, and you know, we spoke to him about it. He's all for it. He's very bullish about it, and he in fact can see a real use case in the actual United States rather than, you know, I think Bab's aiming at, you know, these developing countries is probably in a nice way of putting it. So, you know, in regards to that, I think it's real. I think you definitely need. I mean, it's all over our channel. Scott covers it a lot. Scott has covered it from day one. In all honesty, you know, we was in there before pre-ICO, and you hear about all these ICO scams, and we've done very well. We did some extremely hard research before we committed to ICOs. BAB appeared to have been a great one. It got all the funds from its ICO sale. It also then raised 1.5 billion for capital in order for you know, to get the bank licenses for the Bank of England and Lithuania. Lithuania have just come out of a meeting from BAB this week, or maybe last week, and Lithuania have asked them to formally apply now for the banking license, meaning any critical hurdles have been, you know, ironed out. The creases have been ironed out. And I really can expect to see bank licenses for BAB, you know, maybe this time next year. They've got the beta for the app is rolling out in November. Again, it's only going to be a beta. I wouldn't expect anything massive from that. But I think by this time next year, you know, if it's granted a Bank of England license, you know, the most prestige bank license on the world, after XRP's done everything that it's done, you know, over the Christmas into, you know, midpoint next year, I think people on onlookers by will be really taking a keen interest in what the next move that they can get into. And I think if BAB is starting announcing bank licenses to be the first blockchain-based bank account to actually be granted a banking license worldwide, you can understand the FOMO that's going to be created from that. Now, I'm not in BAB for the FOMO. I'm really not in BAB for the FOMO whatsoever. I believe in its long-term utility. I believe coins that haven't got utility are simply going to die off eventually. But I don't know how long it's going to be, but, you know, there's no need for 1,600 tokens out there when there's, you know, 30, 40 of them trying to do the same thing in that regard. So, yeah, I mean, like I say, if you've not looked up BAB, definitely give it a look. Honest to God, they've got a very transparent team. They've raised, you know, 20 million in the ICO, which they can use for technology and development for application, etc. They've raised 1.5 million British pounds, you know, so it's probably about, what, 1.9 million US dollars. Just so they've got the actual capital raised. That's not been raised from an ICO as the Bank of England requested for. That was a bit of a down hit on BAB at the time, but obviously they pulled away and done exactly what they said that they're going to do. They've raised the money. It's perfect, and I think that banking application now is the only thing that's holding BAB back. And I think eventually, if it does get, well, when it gets the bank licenses, I'm very confident that it will get them. I think you're probably looking at maybe what Q2, Q3 2019. I think it shows on the timeline for the process of banking application. So from that point, honestly, you know, it could potentially be the equivalent of buying Ripple at ½ a cent. You know, no one heard about Ripple. It had a lot to prove. It had a lot of hurdles to cross. A lot of negativity. People saying that it couldn't do what it was basically going to do. And, you know, it absolutely showed everybody up. I think BAB at its price now at like the, I think it's at 0.0005 cents, ranging between there, 4.5, maybe up to 6. It's been a lot higher, obviously, but you know, with the substantial bear run that we have had, I took a lot of the capital out of BAB itself. But like I say, I have no concerns. I've invested in the long term with that. My investment is a little bit down at the moment. I am actually looking to buy some more of it this payday, because I think it's just an absolute steal to be able to accumulate some of them, and I do have belief in the project. I mean, whether that happens, this isn't financial advice again, it's just a recommendation for you to go and do some research into it. But I mean, my take on BAB, what I've been saying to Scott is it's just about getting out the products that they promised, the application, which we're in development for right now as we speak. We've got the soft launch in November, and then the actual main application launched in February next year. Lithuania have asked them to formally apply for a bank license. I can really see BAB having an application. I mean, if you want to look at the likes of Wirex and Revolt, they've done very well with the crypto, sort of crypto prepaid cards. What BAB's actually offering you is actual banking facilities, sort code, account number, deposits. I mean, I like to say, I'm part of BAB, I'm invested into them, and I can assure you one thing: if it comes to a point next year where they have been granted a banking license, I will be leaving my bank, which is Halifax. And I'll be giving my employer my sort code and account number for BAB. I'll be paid into there. I'll be able to pay all my utility bills out of there. And again, as Maurice was saying, over in America, these people who haven't got access to bank accounts are being paid, having to pay extortionate fees on cards to make bill payments and stuff. So it's not just about emerging markets with BAB. It is about banking the unbanked, whether it be in a first world country or a developing country. You know, it's a worldwide phenomenon where people can't get banking license for whatever reason. Basically BAB are allowing this with KYC verification, and they've also got a patent out as well for actual ownership of your own data. So, you know, if you're making transactions with Halifax and that, you know, they bundle all this data up, they sell it on. Whereas with BAB, any information or data that is processed through using their banking network, you will have the rights to that data and therefore be paid for it. They have a patent out for that as well. You know, so look, it's one of them things. I wanted a low risk purchase in crypto, and I really do believe XRP is low risk. I actually think it's fucking life changing, to say the least. BAB was more of a high risk at the time, because it had to do all the funding. You know, we didn't know whether it was a scam and stuff like that, but you know, we did really do some due diligence looking into BAB, and I believe in my eyes we've crossed over the hardest borders, which was the pre-fund and obviously the banking license capital for Lithuania and Bank of England. And I think it is just a waiting game for BAB now. I think next year, when they do get a bank license, I think you'll see a bit of an explosion in the price. Like I say, it is only a matter of time, but I really do think that, I mean, especially in the UK now, we've got the fintech centre of the world, supposedly, what they're saying in London, level 39, where BAB are based, and they seem to be all for innovation, and you know, BAB could be basically the groundbreaking sort of you know, blockchain bank account first based out of the, it could be a UK sort of first. Worldwide, to be fair, if we start to get the bank license, but it could be like the UK's great, you know, it could be the UK's role model, if you want to call it that, for how to successfully launch and run, you know, a company from blockchain and using digital assets in the same way as Ripple and XRP. And now, I did question it, being a Ripple supporter, but what's BAB got to offer in comparison to Ripple? But again, obviously, how many banks is there worldwide? Whether Ripple can get a lot of the unbanked onto their platform, again, it'll just be financial inclusion, but we'll really offer them financial requirements that you would require for banks, you know, i.e. sort codes, account numbers. We'll have to see how the future pans out, but I'm a big believer of BAB, and I'm 100% confident of its success, just as much as I am with XRP. In fact, actually, BAB could actually produce these bank licenses. It could get a lot of users onto its platform, like Wirex have and Revolt has, and, you know, sort of become a bit of a trending thing, you know, get a couple of million fucking followers and users onto the platform. And then obviously you can just imagine, because Revolt and Wirex haven't actually got a native digital asset, where BACS have got one, so all their currency transfers, you know, whether it's banks, British pounds into euros, Bitcoin into euros, you know, it'll have an internal crypto exchange wallet where you can safeguard all your crypto. I think it's going to be an absolute epic fucking project to me, I really do, and I'm really bullish for the future. I'm going to leave it at that anyway, 20 minutes. See you tomorrow.